started filming a second ago, and I immediately, my phone slipped and I swore, which actually, considering what I've just been to see, is completely apt. I've just come out of a screening of Wicked Little Letters. This is a new British comedy based on a true story starring Olivia Colman and Jessie Buckley. And it is the story of a poison pen letter scandal in the town of Littlehampton in 1920, I believe it's set. So this is a story that was sort of lost to history until quite recently. But in the quaint little seaside town of Littlehampton, people start to receive some quite spicy letters. The main recipient to begin with is a woman called Edith Swan, played by Olivia Colman, who is terribly upstanding and a good woman and a Christian woman. She lives with her mum and dad in their little cottage, their little, well, I suppose not cottage, it's a little like terraced house. She's obviously never left home or married, but she considers herself to be a pillar of the community, and she's receiving these quite graphic letters. The person suspected of sending the letters is her next door neighbour, who is called Rose Gooding, and she is played by the absolutely wonderful Jessie Buckley. Now I'm going to talk, I mean not at length, but I am going to talk about both the leads because, oh my god, these women. The film itself, right, is perfectly fine. It's very enjoyable. I liked it. The letters are hilarious in their sweary filthiness for the day. Some quite odd linguistic choices. I'm sure I saw Olivia Colman being interviewed, and she said that pretty much the letters are exactly the letters that were sent. So that's amazing if that's true. And some quite odd linguistic choices made, but they are very sweary and very sort of shocking for the time. And the film itself, like I say, is perfectly fine and enjoyable. It is a lovely way to spend an hour and a half or a little bit longer. The cast are cracking. It would have been perfectly acceptable as a 2-part Sunday night ITV drama. I don't know why I've gone ITV rather than BBC, but it could have been that. And I probably would have watched it if I saw a trailer for it and it had these actors in, because all of these actors are equally at home on the big screen as on the small. I probably would have gone, yes, I will watch that. Isn't that lovely? So it's not particularly cinematic. It didn't need a big screen treatment, but because of the cast and because particularly of the two leads, they just elevate it to something else. So let's talk a little bit about Olivia Colman, who is literally the queen in so many senses. Obviously she played, I can't think which queen she was supposed to be in The Favourite. Who is she supposed to be? I want to say Queen Anne. Am I making that up? I've got no idea. She played a queen, one of our queens, in The Favourite. She's played the Queen, Queen Elizabeth II, God rest her soul. In The Crown, she was the middle incarnation of the Queen, framed either side by Claire Foy as the younger Queen, and then Imelda Staunton as Her Majesty in her later years. So she has played the actual Queen, and she is just an absolute icon of stage and screens, both big and small. If you don't like Olivia Colman, there is something wrong with you. She's got to be one of the most likeable women on the face of the earth. She's just turned 50. She looks bloody fabulous. She's doing all the press for this film at the minute, and she's got bleached blonde hair. I don't know if that's for a role she's doing currently or what, but she looks fabulous, and I love her. And she was in Peep Show, and she was in Heartstopper as Nick Nelson's mum, and she's won Oscars, and she's so grounded and funny and warm and open and likeable and so bloody talented. Like, a lot of this film is done on looks, gestures, just mannerisms. She says so much without using actual words. There's a bit where she's at the Christian woman's whist, so they're all sitting around playing cards, and they're discussing perhaps who else might have a grudge against Edith rather than just Rose, the neighbour. And they're all sort of zinging back and forwards people who could have beef with her and things that they might not like about her, and she's sort of like, oh, well, and it's just, there's so much going on without her saying, and she's so watchable, like, and she's just got such an incredible body of work. Everything from, I say, like iconic British comedies like Peep Show to, you know, she was in Paddy Considine's film Tyrannosaur, and like I say, I'm pretty sure she won an Academy Award for The Favourite. Did she? Maybe. She was certainly nominated. And she's just humble and funny and, like I say, inherently likeable. So she is brilliant as Edith Swan. And then Jessie Buckley as Rose Gooding is just playing this wonderfully brash, sweary, boozy Irish woman. And they literally, I mean, they refer to her as an immigrant because it's 1920 and she's Irish. So yeah, she is classed as an immigrant, you know, and everybody's a bit sniffy about her, but she's arrived in Littlehampton with her daughter in tow. Her daughter's played by Alicia Weir, who was most recently seen as the lead in the film version of Matilda, or the film version of the musical Matilda. She plays Nancy, the daughter. And yeah, Rose has arrived in Littlehampton, and she's, you know, she's saying that she wants a fresh start. She says her husband's been killed in the Great War. She's got a partner, Bill, who the actor's name has escaped me. But Jessie Buckley, like, became famous from one of the Andrew Lloyd Webber star searches. And this is why I will not be sniffy about TV talent searches, whether it's the Andrew Lloyd Webber ones from years ago, or things like The Voice, or even X Factor, because even if, yes, I know there's a lot of talk now about with things like The Voice where, oh, well, people are being scouted and invited on it, and that's probably true. Of course it's true. I know for a fact that that's what happens with Britain's Got Talent and stuff. People are invited to be part of it. But these programmes do find some talent. And Jessie Buckley was one of the ones in the running to be Nancy in the West End, and she didn't win. She got down to the final three, but the final three, if memory serves, were Jodie Prenger, who won it, who's done loads of stuff in the West End, and then the two runners-up were Jessie Buckley and Samantha Barks. So Samantha Barks was in the film version of Les Mis. She is currently in the West End as Elsa in Frozen, although obviously that's closing soon. And then Jessie Buckley's just this incredible force of nature. The first thing I saw her in beyond I can't think what it was called, I Do Anything, the Andrew Lloyd Webber thing, was when I saw her in Wild Rose, when she played a Scottish, like a Glaswegian country singer. She was incredible. And again, just so watchable and charismatic. And her and Olivia Colman going toe to toe as these two, sort of one very buttoned up, one very sweary and ballsy. And you just think, well, if I was going to be mates with one of you, I definitely want to be mates with Rose and not Edith, because Rose looks fun and Edith doesn't. In the background of Edith's life, or rather sort of, not quite the background, but sort of pulling all the strings in, she's got this really overbearing father played by Timothy Spall, who again, one of our greats. He's got an excellent big moustache. He's lost quite a lot of weight actually. He's quite slender now. And he, again, very Christian man, very upstanding, and he likes to keep his daughter in her place. And there's some quite uncomfortable scenes actually with them where you're a bit like, God, he's not the nicest of men. Like one of these men who is a Christian man, but not necessarily a charitable man, or not necessarily a very kind man. So that's going on in the background. There's also a woman police officer, which obviously for the time was quite unusual. Woman police officer Gladys Moss, she was brilliant as well. I really liked the actress who played her. There's this fantastic cast of characters, and like I say, I mean, it's very funny and the letters are very sweary. It's basically like a two-part Sunday night drama that just happens to have been made into a big screen, a big film. it's enjoyable. It's not fantastic, it's not going to change the world, but it's an enjoyable little romp. But I could watch those two women, and actually it's predominantly female cast. There's a lot less male characters, and it is about the women. And in the background of everything that's going on in Littlehampton, you've got suffragettes on the rise, and you know, all this talk that women are forgetting how to be proper. And Rose's attitude to it all is all like, basically, well, bollocks to being proper, you know, let's be brave. And one of the older characters, Mabel, who's again part of the sort of women's circle in the Christian Whist women's card playing group, says, you know, it's all very well when they wanted us to work in their factories and they wanted us to drive their trucks, and now we're supposed to go back to being proper, because obviously this is between the two world wars. So there's some interesting stuff there, and the performances are great, and it looks nice, and Littlehampton looks quaint and wonderful. And yeah, it's an enjoyable way to spend. I mean, it was less than 2 hours. I enjoyed it a lot. Yeah, it's grand. Lovely bit of business. I could watch those two in absolutely anything. So yes, it was an enjoyable way to spend some time. And now I'm going home. That was film number 14, I believe, of 2024. So we're rattling along nicely. And yeah, I shall be back soon for more, no doubt. Okay, Katie out.